Wednesday. It is 10 o'clock in the morning. Hope everyone had a safe drive to work. So, if you're listening to us today, this is part two of our pretty much comic or superheroes in media, like more television and like maybe in films. So, I'm here with Dad again. Uh, just because, as you guys don't know, Jackal has been taking care of his mom. She had surgery. So, hopefully, he'll be back here. Most likely not for next week, but probably the week after. So until then, he'll be here. So then we'll have a couple of weeks with him. We'll probably have more weeks with him, and I'll probably let Dad and him do one or two, so I can get a break.
Well, we have to think of a good topic. Yeah.
Okay.
Get you
So
over the coals.
right. So on Monday we talked about not physical media. Wow. Where did that come from? We talked about the golden age of the superheroes and films, and I just remembered there was a Captain America serial. Did you know that?
I don't remember that.
What the only difference is the guy was not Steve Rogers; it was some other guy, and he had a machine gun. I think he had the shield, but he did use a machine gun. That was very much a propaganda for the 1940s.
Oh, okay.
So I think we ended off talking about Batman and then going into the 70s. And I'm looking here, and I remember watching them as a kid, because I know they would come on every now and then on USA, the USA Network, back when USA was actually good. What is it now? Law and Order and CSI, maybe NCIS.
No, it's not all cops, but there's a lot of chick things.
Well, USA is not what it used to be. Okay. Yeah.
They actually used to have blocks for anime and cartoon. No more.
No, well, USA was known as the Family Network. They had
Right.
a little bit of everything
Yes.
back in the day, and that'll be a discussion for another day. I keep adding on topics on the stuff we need to do. But I remember watching like the Incredible Hulk movie, like the Spider-Man movies, like the TV stuff. They'd even show some of the TV shows. I know there was the Spider-Man TV show in the 1970s, 77 I think it was.
Right along in there. Yeah.
And I remember there was two Captain America films, and oh man, those films were so bad. And everyone's got to understand these are around like I'm trying to look up like the 80, Spider-Man was in 77, Incredible Hulk and Return of the Incredible Hulk. Now those were actually what we like to call backdoor pilots, meaning it was basically leading into the television series, which it did. Which, as you guys know, the 1980s Incredible Hulk series everyone loved it. I mean, it was a good series. I mean, it was 80s.
Very positive.
Yeah.
And very kid friendly. Very family orientated.
Uh, yeah, I'm looking at Captain America and Captain America Death Too Soon. Yeah, it was just the shield was clear. He had I guess I'm a little disappointed in this is because, and I know Stan Lee, and I wish Jack Kirby had a little more work to do on this because Captain America was his creation, but I kind of wish they got some people from Japan to come over and to help with some of the prop making. Even the 1970s Super Sentai and Kamen Rider series had better suits than what we did in California. I'm sorry. That's a topic for another day. I'm trying not to get on a tangent. Yeah, I know like in the 80s they did a lot of Hulk stuff, like, the death of the Incredible Hulk, the trial of the Incredible Hulk, which I think also had the first cameo of Stan Lee in anything Marvel. He was actually in he was one of the jurors. Yeah. Doctor Strange, 1978. That was supposed to lead into a TV series?
Did not know that.
It was technically a pilot episode. Well, that's it for the 80s. There's a couple stuff in the 90s, but we'll touch about that on another day. You know, really wasn't much going on for DC. 80s was really 70s and 80s where Marvel really started kicking it up. I
They were,
know.
they were kind of dribbling it out a little here and a little there.
Well, like I hate when my computer does that. Ugh.
There again, they didn't have the audience that they do now.
Well, I know. Well, you got to think though. I would have to say. I'm trying to think of TV series they had. Well, you had. Uh, what is it? The Super Friends.
Yes.
So I know you remember that series. And, you know, they had different incarnations. They had that hour long one, which was very positive message, family friendly with those two junior like super friends who are pretty much like the Scooby Gang version of what?
You're right. I hadn't thought of it like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean that was the thing though in this the 70s was let's copy the Scooby Doo formula. And then you had then you had Super Friends with the Wonder Twins, Challenge of the Super Friends. I remember
Yeah,
it was
with the Wonder Twins. That went back as far back as into the I'd say 74, 75, because I also had Space Ghost in there with them too.
no. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up right now.
I'm not getting that mixed up with somebody else.
No, the Wonder Twin. No. Space Ghost had two people with him, but they didn't
Yes.
have powers. The Wonder Twins, they wore purple suits and they had kind of like elf ears. One,
Yes. Well, they had a Space Ghost TV show.
yeah, there was a Space Ghost TV show that was Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yes.
Actually, they made an appearance. The first appearance was in 1977 on Super Friends #7 of DC Comics.
Maybe that's what I remember. I remember the Super Twins.
Wonder Twins.
Wonder Twins.
Yeah, they were in the Super Friends cartoon. Now, you also had. I think they came out. They came out with another Spider-Man cartoon. I'm looking. Yeah, you had Spider-Man cartoon of that was 81, 82. Huh. Never saw that one. I seen Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and that was in the early 80s. You know, that was when he was supposedly going to college. That's where he met Iceman and then Starfire, which that's where she made her debut. With Starfire, she was.
Well, that one got run into syndication. They looped that back through several times.
Oh, I know. I remember
Yes.
first time I saw Spider-Man Amazing Friends was my first year in college.
Yeah.
And I knew it was old, but I liked it. I thought it was a good little series. But like I said, there said Star, not Firestar, not Star. Starfire's DC. Firestar. She was a mutant with fire abilities. Now here's something. Do you know that she was created for the cartoon only and was later introduced into the comics?
Really?
Uh huh.
Instead of the other way around.
And yeah, so she was actually the first female that actually happened. Actually, I'm gonna double check because that's what I remember. I could be wrong.
So she started off on film and wound up in the cartoons. Wound up in the comics.
That's what I'm checking right now. Uh, yeah, yep. She was created exactly for Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Yeah, on NBC. And then she was put into the comic books. See, everyone forgets about that because everyone says that Harley Quinn was the first female to be brought from a TV show to the comics,
Mm-mm.
which it was Firestar, but Harley Quinn is more popular. So I was trying. I know at the end of Spider-Man: Amazing Friends, they showed the X-Men. Of course, X-Men was really starting to get big in the late '70s and early '80s. The comics.
Yeah, the comics were.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it's been big. It was always big from its beginning, but I remember reading, even in the '90s, like reading some of the older comics that we get when we can, how big it gotten. Then, I think they had that pilot. They ran it a couple times. It just never dogs. It never picked up.
Never went anywhere.
And it really is not a bad pilot. I'll try to
No.
find it one day for us to watch. It's called Pride of the X-Men. Whereas Kitty Pryde becomes an X-Men. And it's just one episode, and it really wasn't that bad. But I want to say the 80s. What else? Hero. There wasn't. I don't think there was a Batman cartoon in the 80s.
None that I remember.
Well, I mean, you had the Adventures of Batman, but that was in the 1960s. Those were shorts. The New Adventures of Batman in 1977, but I've never seen those. Okay, and Superman had a TV series in the 70s. I mean, in the 80s. Did you know that? But like I said, it was there, but it wasn't. I'll have to sit there and say, let's see, animated. No, I don't want films.
It wasn't really promoted by the local networks. They didn't make a big deal of it even on the major networks either. Like when they would
I don't.
introduce new shows, they just kind of fluff over it.
Yeah, well, this one was in 1988, and it was on CBS. I never saw it. Now, I remember we were young, we were doing a lot of stuff too. We were, baseball, football, all that stuff. But even television-wise, I don't think we got it down here, did we?
If we did, I don't remember.
Because I remember watching Saturday morning cartoons. I do.
Yeah.
I remember watching Visionaries, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Centurions.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
Most of that stuff was not based off a comic book.
I was thinking of comic books. I don't really think. I would have to say, probably from my understanding, was them trying to get it out of, I guess, out of the realm of, I guess, really popular out of the realm of comic books. They were just, the studios were having problems doing it. I mean, you had hit and misses. I mean, the cartoon shows that they had were good, but I don't think it was drawing in what they wanted.
Where there again, can we say Hollywood?
Yeah, Hollywood very much stepping in on it. Now,
Because a lot of the stuff that you were watching was coming out of Canada.
yeah. Yeah, and believe it or not, guys, he's actually, and we will have a discussion on that one day, but there's really no lie on that.
That's another topic for another story. But that
Another day. Oh, no. Well, no, that's definitely going to be a topic. Because that's really going to upset a lot of people. I would have to sit there and say, and I've been building up to this. Of course, you had the Christopher Reeve Superman films.
Yes.
And that really did help push Superman. But
Yes.
it didn't push it in a way to where the studios want to make, hey, Superman's a golden, all right.
There's too much what we used to call just a rehash of an old story.
Right, and
Very little rewrite, just new actors.
yeah. Hmm. That's something on my camera. Did not realize that. So, what was I saying? And the Christopher Reeves movies were really good. I have nothing against those films. Yes, they're older, and I know some people don't like watching old films, but, you know, think of the time that they were made and just sit there and enjoy it. But I do know this one film I'm about to talk about really, to me, really started pushing the super the superheroes out of the comic books and more into other media a lot more. It really did help. And that's I want to say it was 89 when it came out. Let me check. Yep. The 1989 Tim Burton Batman film. I was leading up into this.
Oh yeah. Well, that was a pivotal for what I would say the comic book arts. A lot of people, you go back and you look at that movie, and then look at some of the other movies. That was really kind of the launching of what we have now.
Not, yeah, I know. I get exactly what you're saying on that one. Due to the fact that, Tim Burton, if you guys ever seen any of Tim Burton's other films, he does have a very different sense of how to make things. He does like a darker tone in it. And he saw Batman as a darker character because, of his past. And, he had, you had, and I remember watching some interviews a couple months ago, just like listening to them while at work, of when they found out that Michael Keaton was going to be Batman. They thought it was going to flop. Like, Michael Keaton, he's a comedian. Why are you going to put a comedian in a serious role?
Well, it really showed his abilities, didn't it?
Uh
He
huh.
fooled them.
Uh huh. And you had Jack Nicholson as the Joker. I want to say, I think they had somebody else originally planned to be Joker, not Jack Nicholson. I cannot remember. I'd have to look that back up. But I do remember when that movie came out, and I remember I was in kindergarten when that movie came out.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it in theaters because, one, I was still a little too young to watch that in theaters. I remember when it eventually came on HBO, you recorded it and we sat there and watched it.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see Batman Returns in theaters either, but I think that was just, I don't think it really played down here, did it?
Well, it did and it didn't. It was kind of one of those quickie things.
Yeah, films down here in the early 90s was really, really hard to watch sometimes. But, you had Batman that came out. Hold on, there's another movie, and I got to touch on it too. Uh, Now, I went and saw this in theaters because oh yeah, I saw that a year later, but uh, I remember I had to say that the Batman film, Tim Burton's Batman, really started pushing people to see comics that they could be good stories, they could be fun, they could be entertaining. They're not just for kids, and that was the big thing.
Well, it was more aimed more towards older adult type of audience. But if you go back and read the original story and think about it, it is very dark and very tragic.
Yeah, there was another comic book that came out, original comic book or comic book heroes, and they premiered in the '80s. And a lot of people don't realize, and yes, they are. I am classifying them as heroes. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know, they originally were a comic book, a very very dark comic book. I mean, the original Eastman and Lard comic book. I mean, that's dark. I mean, like Shredder dies in the first comic. I think I actually got in one of my drawers. I got like a second or third print of the original of number one.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be a
No, it wasn't supposed to be a kid one.
a kid-friendly type.
No, but then of
More
course,
serious.
well, then you had the the cartoon that came out, and then in 1990, they had the movie. That was around you know, the turtle craze.
Oh yeah.
Because you had like 89 to like 95 was like the big, turtle craze. Then of course you had Power Rangers in there for a while, but we'll talk about that some other time. And I remember that film. That film was a lot darker for kids to watch, but it got away with it.
They pulled it off. That's the term you're looking for.
Oh yes, they pulled it off. Let's see. But after the Batman film, going back to Batman, because we're just going to focus on the mainstream stuff for right now. I remember they came out with Batman the Animated Series, and that's well written. I mean that whole.
That particular series too. It's not aimed at 4 and 5 year olds. It's aimed at a little bit older audience.
I know. Have you ever seen any of those episodes?
Yes, I have. I have seen a few of them.
It's really good.
Yes.
And of course, that started off the whole DC animated universe. Which you had the second season, or the second half was where the animation style changed just a little bit, but they had Superman in there, which led also into Justice League Unlimited, Static Shock, and Batman Beyond, and the little side series that was called the Zeta Project, which didn't turn out really good. Oh, fun fact. Did you know that Batman the Animated Series, when they drew it, alright, so you know how when they draw something originally, it's always on a white canvas? It was not drawn on a white, it was drawn on a black canvas.
I get ready to ask.
Uh-huh.
On a dark canvas.
It was on a dark canvas.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I would have to say, especially after that movie came out and Batman Animated Series came out, you've had another, I have to say probably a year after Batman came out, Marvel came out with X-Men the Animated Series.
Yeah, I remember that it came out on Saturday morning.
Uh-huh.
I want to say 10 o'clock, I think it was.
Yeah.
Slot.
Yeah, it was a 10 o'clock slot on Fox Kids. That was at least the good, yeah, because Fox Kids was around 89, and it really started picking up until like 98 is when it died down, at least down here.
I remember when we used to have to record that for you, so go to football practice and football games and whatnot. You could sit that afternoon.
Or yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
In fact, I think we still might have a tape or two of that.
What, X-Men?
Yeah.
And Batman? Yeah, I think we do somewhere. Like the original broadcast run. Without the commercials, which commercials were better back then too. But especially in the 90s though, you had a very much a surge of like different comic book. Like I said, you had Batman the Animated Series, you had X-Men the Animated Series, which later went into Spider-Man the Animated Series. Then you had Iron Man the Animated Series, Fantastic Four the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, which Superman was on the WB, compared to Batman was on Fox for a while, and then then it became the WB altogether. Let's see, am I missing one? Oh yeah, the Incredible Hulk.
Sure did. I forgot about that.
What, the Incredible Hulk cartoon?
Yeah.
Not like the segment short one. I think there was one in the 70s or 80s. I'm not sure, but I know the one from the 90s was aired on UPN.
Yeah.
Now here's something. Do you know they got Lou Ferrigno to come back to voice Hulk?
Oh, what's it? The UPN?
Uh huh.
Yeah.
So, but I had to say the media is there. Starting from the Batman movie, leading into Batman Returns. Batman Forever was okay. Uh, I'm not thrilled on the villain's performances on that one. I think they had Val Kilmer too as Batman, and then of course you have Batman and Robin, which everyone shuns Batman and Robin, but to me all Batman and Robin was 19 Campy's Batman in a darker form. What? No, I'm being serious.
Oh, I know.
But that's the best way I can think of it. But yeah, Batman Forever that's my least favorite Batman movie.
Yeah.
I just don't like Jim Carrey's performance in that one. I just
It doesn't float your boat.
No, I got spoiled also with Gotham too. Now that Riddler was spot on. And anything you can think of?
Not off the top of my head, no.
I mean, because we're getting into the because I'm trying to touch as much as I can. Because I know Friday's segment. I think we'll touch into on Friday's segment on the end of that one topic at the very end.
Yeah.
Because I guess the next topic we can talk about on it is dealing with films, and I guess we could touch with video games a little bit, and there's a reason for that. But I do know. Well, no, we don't have to touch any video games. So basically, we can start talking about, I guess, a little bit more of the movies, because the TV shows we pretty much just taught. We've touched on which ones were and how influential so far they've been. I mean, Batman especially. Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill are two of icons now in the Batman. He's Kevin Conroy did Batman. Mark Hamill did Joker, which he's done a lot of stuff in voice acting. Oh, good, that thing finally turned off. I would have to also sit there and say, Superman animated series was really good. It was definitely a light and day thing between Batman and that series. I really liked Justice League. I thought Justice League was very well done, as well as Justice League Unlimited. The one series, though, now that I go back and I look at it now, which was really unappreciated, was Batman Beyond.
You mean underappreciated?
Yeah. I mean, Batman Beyond, I remember watching it as a kid and liking it, but now that I'm older and I've rewatched it, Batman Beyond was very, very well done.
You got a lot out of it at the time, but it means more, and what's the word I'm looking for? You get more out of it.
Yeah. Marvel-wise, TV shows, I think we had Spider-Man Unlimited after the Spider-Man series. I saw a couple episodes like that on ABC Family. They were running like old cartoons for a while. That was like almost a decade later. I was seeing those, but that was near the end of the Saturday morning era. Movie wise, and I guess we can touch on this right now, is movies were hit and miss. After the unfortunate failure of Batman and Robin, not many people want to touch comic book movies.
No, not at all.
And then you had a property which Some people knew about it who watched Batman the animated series. No, not Batman. Spider-Man the animated series. You know, they introduced Blade in it. He was in for like a couple episodes, and then of course, they came out with the movie Blade, which was a Marvel property, which a lot of people didn't know that at first.
Still don't.
No, so a lot of people still don't know that. Wesley Snipes' Blade, that was technically a Marvel movie. Technically, if you want to be technical, they could put it after Captain Marvel. Uh, but that's part of the topic we'll talk about next time, because I don't think, yeah, after Batman and Robin, DC didn't release a film until Superman Returns.
Yeah, best I remember.
Huh.
You can double check it.
Yeah, I'll double check it. So Friday, everybody, we're going to kind of get more into the movies a little bit. Like I said, a lot of these topics were just skimming the surface. We will do more in depth detail, like one day, like we'll just focus on like an entire series or whatnot. So Friday, I guess we'll start with the film series coming into from the end of the century to the turn of the century, and what they eventually led into, which that'll be a whole topic for
Oh, that'll be a whole week.
that.
Easy. That's just scratching the surface.
Yeah, I know. Well, that'll be more of a topic we will discuss when it gets closer to May. One of the, well,
Yes.
I say probably at the end of the month, because there's a film that comes out at the end of the month we're gonna go see. So, speaking of films, everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and put this plug in right now. So this next Sunday, or this coming Sunday, check your if you're if you love old movies. It's going to be in theaters for a 1 day showing. I know in ours there's two showings. There's a 1 o'clock and a 4 o'clock showing. But they're going to show the original King Kong in theaters. Check Fathom Events.
For your local.
That's FATHOM Events. It's done by is it AMC? It's doing, or TMC? It's TMC.
Don't know.
Okay. Well, Fathom Events is hosting a special 1 day showing of the original King Kong film, and guys, that's a classic. Especially if you like the kaiju. If you're a kaiju fan, I mean, this is kind of the precursor to the kaiju films, which are big monster films. And it's also really good because the fact is, later this year we get Godzilla versus King Kong in the MonsterVerse. So, with that said, everybody, we will see you on Friday around 10 o'clock, just like before. Remember to like and subscribe to us here at Nerds with a Cause. It really does help us out, helps us beat the algorithm, so we can eventually do this for a living, hopefully. So, with that said, we are out.